What's up?
Brilliant. No, I 50% agree with you in the notion that the day of the Pentecost, they actually had their own languages. I speak Shona from Southern Africa. I could probably, if I hear one of the apostles speaking Shona and speaking the word of God to me, that I agree. However, I'm going to give you, if you'd allow me to demonstrate something. Let me just use a single word. A single word. All right.
Okay, hold on. Stop for a second.
Yeah.
Let's read this passage. I mean, this is so silly. I'm having a hard time not cracking up. They were dwelling in Jerusalem, Jews, devout men from every nation under heaven. And when the sound occurred, this is Pentecost, the multitude came together, and they were confused, because everyone heard them speak in their own language. They were amazed and marveled. Look, aren't these men Galileans? How can we hear in our language what they speak? Now, it lists some of the ethnicities and languages and people groups that are there. Parthians, Medes, Elamites, those dwelling in Mesopotamia, Judea, Cappadocia, Pontus, Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, Egypt, Libya, Cyrene, Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretans and Arabs. We hear the apostles speaking in our tongues, languages. Again, for slow boys, you can go look up on Blue Letter Bible what the word glossa means, languages. There's nothing in this passage at all about unknown mystical transmissions from God of unknown languages. That is insane, given what this passage just says, clear as day.
In that passage, I 100% agree with you. The notion that I want to bring is what I want to ask you, because I actually want to ask more than to actually take a position as if I know. Here's the thing. I'm going to give you a word, and it's a sound, probably. And we're going to say putwa, right? It means nothing, not even in my language. But between me and you, we want to agree that it says jump, right? So no matter whatever word that I'm going to say right now, every time when I say putwa, to you, you already know exactly what I mean. It means jump. Here's the thing. If I'm going to give you a series of words to say, oh, this word means this 1, 2, 3, then one day you hear me speaking those words. Won't you be able to determine what I'm actually, let's say I'm praying, won't you be able to actually determine what I'm praying because I gave you the codes of what I said, the sound every time when I'm saying putwa, I mean jump. So if you see me saying putwa, by that time you know the guy is saying jump, jump, jump. Maybe.
Bro, I have no idea what is going on here. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Swage, what's up?
Hi, Jay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hi, God bless you, and happy Resurrection Day. I have just a quick question, maybe or 2 or 3 if we have time. I do believe that we should follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. But if I had to align myself with any religion, I would probably say I will be closer to Pentecostalism. But in the last few years, I've realized that there's different kinds of Pentecostals. The one that I follow is more of that we believe in the Trinity, which would be that we believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross and he was resurrected in 3 days. We also believe that we don't pray to Mary or the statue or any statues or saints or icons. So my question is, are you against all Pentecostals? Is there
yes, it's all completely fraudulent and a sham. Correct.
And why is that?
For all the reasons that I laid out in the first hour.
Oh, okay. I actually saw your YouTube video online just a few minutes ago. So I might
okay, that's fine.
I'll try to rewind.
No, that's fine. I mean, I can just restate in brief that God always gave a liturgical pattern of worship, and so from the outset, that would disqualify all Pentecostal charismatic groups. Number 2. There is no new divine revelation after the death of John the Apostle. The Bible itself and the early church condemned Montanism, and so it rejects the idea of any new ongoing public divine revelations. And 3, the word tongues in 1 Corinthians is known languages. There's nothing at all about gibberish. Paul's talking about noetic heart prayer in 1 Corinthians 14. Nothing to do with gibberish. So those 3 simple points, I think, immediately disqualify all forms of Pentecostalism, charismaticism.
Yeah, I agree with you with the gibberish part. I fully agree with
The
you
what?
on that part. What was that?
You agree with what?
I'm sorry. I do agree with the gibberish part, that there are certain individuals that they pretend to speak in tongues, but I would say that that the gift of tongues still exists to this day. So not everyone may have
Okay, and the gift
everyone
of
may have different kinds of
the
gifts.
gift of tongues,
But,
according hold on, the gift of tongues is stated in terms of the definition of the Greek word to be a known language distinct from other nations or languages.
Oh, okay, but I also want to address like the first point you mentioned regarding the hierarchical of what was the terms that you used? The number one point that you mentioned.
The God has always told his people to worship liturgically and not in gibberish and flopping around and whatever.
Oh, okay. So are you saying that if let's say we need to, because I do apologize, I'm not too familiar with the Orthodox views. I'm a little bit more closer. I understand Catholics a bit more, but are you saying that if let's say we need to reach out to God, we would have to go through a hierarchy of individuals in this?
I didn't. I never said anything like that. I said that liturgical worship, ordered, patterned worship, that the temple and the synagogue had, that the early church set up its apostolic liturgical worship based on those things.
Okay, so like a pastor and the let's say
No,
priest
so
and
no,
so
that
forth.
has no. Liturgical worship, it meaning all the things that, for example, you see in an Orthodox church or a Catholic church. What you think is Catholic, those elements of vestments, priests, imagery, icons, all of that existed in the temple and the synagogue. That is the liturgical pattern of worship. David's psalms are meant to be sung in a liturgical, ordered worship service. There is no chaos. There's no gibberish. There's none of that. No rock bands. None of that.
So when the disciples were being persecuted, did they have any of those liturgical icons?
Absolutely.
And so forth? They did.
Yep.
And so what about the like Christians in Africa now who are being tortured and they're hiding and worshiping God, but in hiding? Are they required to have, like, my point is, do you need to have that for you to praise God? If let's say, let's say we go with worst case scenario, if let's say you have individuals who are being tortured.
So you're talking about out of the norm instances which don't make the norm. I'm talking about the norm of what God established. Do you believe that God established in the Old Testament liturgical worship?
I believe that. After
It's
Jesus
a simple
came,
question, man.
We don't need.
So you're not going to answer my
I would say
question.
no.
You're not going to answer my question.
No, but once Jesus came, that
You're not going to answer my question. I asked you.
I'm trying to answer it, but
That's not an
my
answer. You said
is
after
no.
Jesus came. I said in the Old Testament, did God establish liturgical worship?
In the Old Testament, I guess based on your definition, I would say yes.
Okay. How did Jesus worship?
Well, the way Jesus worshipped was praying directly to God.
Did he attend the feast and go to the synagogue and the temple?
Yes.
Okay, so he worshiped liturgically.
Oh, is that what you mean by that?
Okay, you don't even know what the word. So you want to debate something and you're not familiar with these terms, man. You're not. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude with you or mean to you, man, but you don't know anything about this topic, so you're not in a position to debate it. And let's move on to the topic about languages. Where do you get that it's gibberish?
No, I'm not saying that it is. I thought that was your argument.
Okay, so
what I'm saying is that I do believe that certain individuals do use speaking in tongues as gibberish, but I do not believe that all individuals are speaking gibberish. I do believe that you can have the gift of speaking in tongues.
Okay, where in the usage in the New Testament, when the word means a known dialect, do you get that it's not a known dialect?
I'm sorry, I'm not following with your question, because
so
what I'm trying to say is that
when people in charismatic
known
Pentecostal
as
when people in charismatic and Pentecostal churches are doing their glossolalia, where do you get any of that in the New Testament when the word itself means a known dialect or language?
I think it's in the New Testament. Let me see. I actually don't have the verse in front of me now.
Okay, well, I've got the Greek term right here pulled up, and it means a known language. Oh my gosh.
Patience, my friend, patience. Okay, but I know you have other individuals who want to speak as well. Maybe my last question that I have for you is I'll look into this, but I know there's a Bible verse in the New Testament that states that the gift of tongue, individuals will have certain kinds of gifts. One of them is speaking in tongues. But maybe my other question that I have is,
what do you think that means, man? When I can look at the Greek definition right here. What do you think it means?
Do you have the verse in front of you? Can you tell me the verse?
Well, it's 1 Corinthians 12, 13, 14, and I'm telling you that the word glossa means a language or dialect used by a particular people distinct from other nations. So that means it's a known language.
Thank you for pointing me to Corinthians. Yes, I do have 1 Corinthians 12:10. To another miraculous powers, to another prophecy, to still another distinguishing between spirits, still another different kinds of tongues. And yet to another interpreting tongues. So what do you understand when you hear that?
Okay, what did I just say? Like, I'm not, oh my God, this is so difficult. Like 5 times I just told you what the word means, tongues. What does it mean?
I think you meant dialect, interpreting dialect. And there's just like a lady putting a lot of smiles.
A known dialect means a known language, man.
Yeah, but what is your definition of speaking in tongues?
It literally just means the languages that nations speak. Like, that's literally what it means. Speaking a language like Russian or speaking, Greek.
So is there a language that is not mankind?
What?
Is there any language that is not within this realm of within our human world? Spiritual language?
That, if you're talking about 1 Corinthians, where Paul's talking about the language that is not known, that's not an actual verbal thing. That's him praying in his spirit.
Yeah, but that's the form of communication.
Yeah, but it's not the word glossa. It's a different, it's the word there meaning inner prayer in his spirit. It's not gibberish and yapping.
No, I definitely agree with the gibberish and yapping part. There's people who are pretending to be speaking in tongues, but what I understand is that there's a form of
let me put it.
that we don't understand.
No, and I'm disagreeing with that. And I'm saying that nothing that occurs in the charismatic sphere at all is anything in the New Testament. None of it. Nowhere. Whether it's the gibberish, people pretending to speak in tongues, or people claiming that they are speaking in a language that no one knows, none of that is in the New Testament or at all what's going on in Paul's writings. That's what I'm claiming.
And then what about during the times of Pentecost when they all spoke over 100? They spoke in multiple languages and languages that.
The miracle is everybody hearing the message in their tongue. That means known language, known dialect.
But it doesn't limit it to known languages.
Oh my God.
Well,
how would it?
I'll move on to another point really quickly.
Hold on, man. Hold on. How would a bunch of people from different nations who are gathered there, hearing it in their dialect, what would be the point of unknown dialects in that? It's like...
Okay, so did they all understand? In other words, did they all understand each and every dialect?
No, man. It says that they heard. It says that they heard the message in their language.
Yeah. Exactly.
So when a Greek guy goes there and Peter's preaching, he hears the message in Greek.
In Greek, and that's my point. So if he
so none of this has any. So none of this is charismatic stuff, dude. None of this is the charismatic nonsense.
Okay, this is my question. If he understood it in Greek, does that mean he understood it in Hebrew?
No. The Hebrews.
Okay, so that's my point. So there's languages that they understood based on what they knew. So there's no limitation of what possible languages came out of that Pentecost.
It's known languages. There is no unknown language. It would even make sense. It wouldn't even make sense for an. Stop interrupting me, man. Why are you doing this? Why are you trying to yap over me?
Go ahead.
It's a simple point. A Hebrew hears the message in his native tongue. A Greek hears the message in his native tongue. You're telling me that because they're hearing it in native tongues, there are infinite unknown languages that are also being heard? That is insane.
Not that they're hearing, just that the possibility exists that these.
No, where are you getting that?
These languages that we hear within the world. There's also languages that are unknown, which are
Where are you getting that? Where are you getting that? When literally the word means a known language or dialect.
Well, I would say that's your definition of this word, but
My definition. Do you understand that I'm at? Where do you think I'm getting? Did I have it pulled up on screen? The Greek definition from Strong's. My definition.
I can't see your. I'm sorry. I'm actually on. I can't see your screen, but I'll take your word for it.
It's Strong's 1,100 is the word.
Yeah, I guess so. Like, I know you're asking me where do I get it from, but how do you know that it's being limited to only the word?
So now you're making an argument from silence when there's absolutely no reason to believe a passage that says that the hearers were hearing it in their native dialect, that there's unknown. What would be the point? Do you understand how dumb this is? Like, so God is it is stupid. It's really stupid, man. I'm not trying to be mean to you, but let's stop and think about it for a minute. God is transmitting a message to an unknown dialect at the same time that no one else hears or knows. That's insane.
The way I understand it is there's a language that's being funneled through to us as humans that we all could understand, but the original source of that language coming in through us is a language that is spiritual.
What are you even talking about? Now you're talking about just total. I don't even know what that means.
Okay,
a language coming into us that's totally spiritual. Where in Acts 2 is that?
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, let me clarify.
Where are you getting this from? You keep saying that this is the case, but where is that from?
You're saying that we're limited to certain kinds of languages.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying what the text.
Dude, you're giving the definition of speaking in tongues. So if that's the
dude, stop yapping. Stop yapping.
It's not enough.
The text itself tells us what is going on. It says that the hearers heard in their native tongues what Peter was preaching. That's the miracle. That's the reversal of Babel. That's what's predicted in Isaiah. You're saying, but it's an argument from silence because there could have been the transmission of unknown languages. Where are you getting that?
Possible? Is it possible?
But that's an argument from silence that is nowhere there.
Is it possible? Is my question.
What would be the point of transmitting unknown languages to people that can't hear it?
Only us here in this world would hear this moment.
Dude, you're not even making any. This is so stupid. I can't. Like that is the dumbest shit I've heard. So God is transmitting unknown languages to people who can't hear or understand it, who aren't there for an unknown language. And the basis for this is an argument from silence. I mean, I don't even know what to say. That is so stupid. It's like people can't just look at literally what the word means. Known dialects, languages.